Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Okay, good evening, right? Hope you all can hear me, right? Last week we started, but we could not continue because I had some urgent work and all that. Sorry for the delay. Today onwards, right, we are going to start right from the sketch, right? I have shared some of the notes, right? Especially really not notes, but some slideshows, right, on evolution of psychology and uh, educational psychology, right? Have you received them? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We have received.
Yes, how good.
So I would like you to start. I would like you to switch to first slide slow, right? First slide show, that is evolution of psychology. Right. Shall we get down to it? Hello. Shall we get down to it? Oh, right. Okay. Right. Um. Right. Now go to the first slide. Right. Yeah. Okay. What is psychology? Right. How's the term psychology derived from? So my lectures will basically be a discussion between us. It's not going to be just a lecture method. Although I'm lecturing these things online, it would more of the mode of the discussion method. Let's move on now. Now from now on. Onwards, right? Okay, right. I think right. You got the two slide shares right now. I want you to switch on the first slide share, right? Which is about the evolution of psychology, right? As we discussed last week, psychology started as a philosophical subject. Right? So we are going to discuss how psychology came in being. Now, if you go to the first slide, you can see how the term psychology was derived. Two Greek words are involved in the formation of the word psychology. What are the two words? I think I explained it to you last week as well. Now, when you when you switch on the slideshow, also you can get know it. Right. Let's now from now onwards, right? We are going to do this as a discussion. I mean, it's going to be a two-way. Hello. Hello.
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay. From the time are taking place, I don't know, right? But I'll get them sorted out by tomorrow. Anyway, right. Okay. So psychology came to be uh, by two Greek words. Again, it means what? Psych means soul. Logo means study. So psycho psych logo came together and it became psychology. Right. Then right. Uh, who are the contributors to the development of psychology? There are many psychologists who have really contributed a lot to the development of psychology, right? As you know, right, some old ancient psychologists like Socrates, Plato, all these people have played their roles. But psychology, in order to develop psychology as a science, right, there's one key figure who has been instrumental. He is none other than Wilhelm Wundt, a German scientist, a psychologist, right, who established the first laboratory for psychology studies. He's a German psychologist. In 1879, in a university called Visby, German, he established the first experiment laboratory for psychology. So this is regarded as a very important turn of the events in the evolution of psychology. Actually, psychology was considered as a philosophical subject. So from its transition, during its transition from a philosophical subject, that means an art subject, to a science subject, this person Wilhelm Wundt played a very great. So he had many followers, right? So right. So what he said was, psychology is the study of soul. Then uh, he went on searching for. He went on uh, finding ways and means of studying the soul. Actually, soul, the concept of psychology, looking at psychology as the study of soul, they had to give up because the soul is a more an abstract concept. So they replace soul with mind. Then again, they had an issue with the mind as well, because mind also was not visible, and mind also, although it is less abstract than soul, still it is still an abstract. So what they wanted to do was, right, they wanted to find about the constituents of the mind. So Wilhelm Wundt started a school of thought in psychology. There are many schools of thought in psychology. We are going to discuss these things one by one. The first thing established by Wilhelm Wundt is called structuralism, because he believed in studying the structure of the mind. Right? How to study the structure of the mind? So what is meant by the structure of the mind? What is meant by structure of mind? Do you have any idea what is meant by the structure of the mind? Can you please come out with your answers, please? Hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Wilhelm want to study the structure of the mind. So what is meant by the structure of the mind? How do we study the structure of the mind? What is our mind comprised of? Yes.
So I can't hear you properly, I guess.
What is our mind comprised of? What is our mind made of? Wilhelm wanted to, in order to do some psychological studies, Wilhelm wanted to study the structure of the mind. So what I am asking you is, how can we study the structure of the mind? Yeah, actually, what is there in the mind, right? Structure means what? Do you understand what is meant by structure? Structure means the composition of the mind. So, what is the mind made of? Now, I told you this should be two sessions, right? So, I want you to share with me, right? I want you to contribute. Then only this should be a two-way learning process. I don't like to keep on keep listening, right? That is not a mode of that is not considered a mode of learning anymore. So it has to be an interactive session. So that I know, right, how, whether you understand it or whether you are really getting interested in this or not, right? Okay. So how do we study the structure now? Suppose you are a psychologist. Now you want to study the structure of the mind. So how do we study the structure of the mind? Actually, what is the mind made of? What is the mind made of? What are the constituents of mind? Yes,
The
yes, my dear.
collection of the thoughts.
Very good. So mind is made of what? Right now, when I ask this question, some people say they mistake mind for brain, and it is made of nerves and neurons and various kind of very what is our mind made of? Thoughts. What is our mind made of? Thoughts. Again, please. Hello.
Yeah, our mind made of thoughts.
What is our mind made of? Thoughts.
Thoughts.
Okay. So if we want to study the mind of a certain person, what do we have to study? What do you
Their
have to
thoughts.
study? We have to study
We
his
have
or her
to-
thoughts. Okay. His or her thoughts. Okay. Now, if psychology is the study of mind, right? If studying the mind is studying the structure of the mind, that means thoughts, right? How are we able to study the structure of the mind or the thoughts? Structure, I mean, components of the minds are thoughts. So how are we going to study the thoughts? Now, suppose there is a person called A, right? Now, A has a kind of a abnormal behavior. So we assume that A has a psychological issue. So in order to solve his problem, right, we have to study his mind. In order to study A's mind, right, what do we need to do? We have to study his thoughts. How are we going to locate his thought, or how are we going to identify his thought? What is the tool we can use? Yes.
By their behavior, sir?
Yeah, his behavior. Yes. Okay. Now, the method or the method proposed by Wilhelm Wundt is introspection. What is it? Introspection.
Introspection.
What is introspection? What is
Look
introspection?
within them. Look
Very
within
good.
them.
Yeah, look within them means you look into yourself right now. Right? Um, Suppose right now, A, right? We want to discuss A's problem. So what we try, psychologist, right? If I'm a structuralist, right? I would employ the technique introspection. What is the technique I use?
Introspection.
Okay, sorry again for a disturbance. I was getting a call. Sorry, right? I did not answer it, but anyway, I had to restart this. Anyway, right? Okay. So I was talking about right now. We want to study somebody's mind, right? So how are we going to study it, right? We have to tell that person to reveal us each all his thoughts. Right? So this method of making the subject reveal his thought is known as introspection. So when that subject reveal all his thoughts of all the things, all the thought processes that he's experiencing, then the psychologist can analyze his thoughts and decide as to what is wrong with him and what corrective actions have been taken. Do you understand? Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's introspection, right? Now, uh, since psychology is considered as a science, science is the meaning of science really. Yeah, I'm now Putta, right? I am not explaining what is there in your note, okay, right? Because in note you can read and understand. Do you understand? Okay. Here my lecture is not just explaining your notes only, right? Notes are there for you to read and understand. I am giving you more insight into the subject. So what we are going to do at the end is, right, now you have to, right, you have to come, you have to read the relevant note 2 3 times, then you have to listen to my lecture and participate in my lecture. And also, right, usually I share some slideshows. You have to watch them also several times, right, or 3 times, and then you make a short note, right? After that we have a kind of at the end of every I mean at the beginning of every lesson, right, we are going to have a summary of for about 20 minutes. We are going to summarize we are going to summarize what we learned the other day. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
When you are
sir.
not responding, I hear
Yes,
that,
sir.
I feel that you don't. Okay, so it is I am going to teach you, right? So don't expect me to explain each and everything which is there in the note, because you all can read the note, right? So you need some extra knowledge and some extra insight into the subject. That you need some expert views and expert ideas from lecturers. Otherwise, right, it should be more like open university tutorial where you get all these guidebooks and all that. You have to read and answer. But here we are going to do a more I mean something more than that. We are going to involve ourselves in an interactive session with you and me, right? As equals, we take part in that in this discussion. So we talk these things and we argue these things. Then, right, only we will right when we are certain about what we learn. Only we are going to be happy and we are going to be satisfied. Okay, do you understand? Hello,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
hello, hello. Okay, so now the first thing I taught you is introspection. What is introspection? It is the main mode of the functionalist. Who is the right? Who are functionalists? We are the psychologists who believe in functionalism. Sorry. I mean, sorry, the structuralism, right? Who? Psychologists. Now, Wilhelm Wundt, I was talking about the first school of thought, that is structuralism. Who paved the way for the structuralism? Who paved the way?
Wilhelm Wooden.
Professor Vaughn.
Wilhelm Wundt. Wilhelm Wundt. Wow. Who is Wilhelm Wundt considered as? He is considered as the father of
Right.
modern psychology. Psychology as a science. Wilhelm Wundt is considered as the father of modern psychology, especially psychology as a science. Now, don't mistake this. He is not considered as the father of uh, educational psychology. I'm talking about psychology. I'm just talking about the basics. After that, we'll switch, come to education psychology. So, the father of psychology as a science, right? The person who is considered as that is Wilhelm Wundt. So, what was the theory he proposed? He propagated a theory, which is called a school of thought. What is the school of thought he propagated? Right? It is structuralism. What is it? What is it? Hello?
Structuralism.
Structuralism.
Structuralism. So what is the main idea behind structuralism? Studying the constitutions, studying the constituents of mind. Constituents mean components of mind, right? So components of the mind are what? Thoughts. How to study the thoughts by what is the method we use for that purpose? Yes, tell me.
Introspection.
Introspection. So this Wilhelm Wundt was supported by many other psychologists, right? And most of the people believe this is the right approach and all that, because this was the latest. I mean, this was the kind of transition from philosophy to science. So there were many people who started following. But sooner than later, they had an issue. Right? What was the issue? Right? This idea of introspection. They said that all now we are dealing with the science. Science is always science is what science is searching for the truth. So if science is searching for the truth, right? How can we rely on the fact that a person reveals all his thoughts, right? Based on his revealings only, we pass judgments. So some people started saying, they started doubting what a person would say. Now, say for example, now suppose one of you is having a psychological issue. Now I am the psychologist. So I am going to use the method introspection in order to study you. So what I am telling you is, okay, you reveal me all your problems. Now, will you frankly tell me each and everything you are experiencing? Hello? Will you frankly tell me what you are experiencing? Yes or no?
Yes.
Hello?
No.
No. Usually you don't do it. There is a part that you hide. That may be due to your individuality, maybe secrecy, maybe social taboos, right? So many other factors are right involved in this. So you don't want to reveal everything with me. If you are able to reveal everything with me, introspection is very fine. That is a good method. Right? But unfortunately, people don't share everything with others. Right? So, so introspection as a scientific way of studying behavior uh, was frowned upon by scientists who came on who came into this field later on, like William James and all that. So they started criticizing this method. What they said was introspection was not reliable because people would not reveal the real thing. So it is not scientific. They said it is not scientific. So later on, right, they started propagating that uh, structuralism is not the correct form of study of psychology, but it is the functionalism. So what is functionalism, right? So another thought of school is functionalism, started by William James. Right. So now functionalism, right? Now the function. So these people who belong to this group are called functionalists. So what they said is, you can't study a person's mind, right, by through introspection, but you can study a person's mind by studying how his mind functions, by studying how his mind functions. So for that, what they said is, right, you have to see how the person's mind functions. In order to observe how a person's mind functions, they introduce a very, very good method. Can any of you please suggest me what that method is? What is it? Hello.
Observation method.
Observation. Very good. Right? Observation. They introduce observation. So observation is a very good method. Right? Why? Observation. Right? When you are observing, right? Uh, Observation is reliable. Okay. Now, uh, what about right now? Okay, now we all agree that observation is more reliable than introspection because we can really observe somebody's behavior. Okay, so what are the negatives of observation, or what are the area? I mean, what are the weak links in observation? Right.
If he is known that he is observed, the behaviors will be different, like that.
That is one thing. The other thing, the observer, right? Now, sometimes we have to see how reliable the observer is. Now, suppose there are two good friends, right? Okay. So then now A is observed by B, right? Whereas A is a good friend of B, right? So will B report everything that he observed?
No,
Yes
sir.
or no?
No,
No.
sir.
That is now observation is better method than introspection, but here now we have a snack. So how to avoid this kind of situation? What do we have to do? How can we improve the accuracy of observation? What can we do? What can we do? We can increase the number of observers, right? What can we do? We can increase the number of observers. Instead of one person, you employ about 5-6 people to observe the same person. Do you understand?
And
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And we can give some categories. I mean, the observation should be done in certain ways, right? Those categories should be given same for all of the observers. Then only
I
the
mean, you mean
according to that, yeah.
You mean the yardstick?
Criterias,
Yeah,
criterias that are observed should be the same for all the observers, isn't it?
Okay. So observation, what are the methods we are using really? What are the techniques we are using? Or the instruments, sorry, not techniques. We can say instruments for observation. What are the instruments we are using? Yes? Yes, my dear?
So observational reports, we can put some records on it.
No, there is a proper term. That is why I want you to come out with it. What is it? It is called observation schedule. What is it? Observation schedule. Right? Now, I can remember right now in the last, right, now we had the, right, I was the paper marker for College of Education Psychology paper for this, I mean, for the last batch, right? Now, in their psychology paper, right, there was one question, right? What are the instruments of observation, right? What are the instruments of observation? No, what are the instruments of studying behavior? Right? So, right, people gave answers like observation, interview, and all that. Now, what do you think? Are the answers right or wrong? Are these answers right or wrong? Yes.
Those are methods. Observation is the method. The tool is like as it's a schedule.
Yeah. If the question was what are the techniques or methods of studying behavior, you can say very correct answers are interviews and observation. But the question is termed in such a way, right, that it is really misleading. Now what's the question? What are the instruments of studying human behavior? Right. Then instrument. Observation is not an instrument. It is a technique or a method. So what are the instruments? Right. Now can you give me now methods? Yes. What are the two methods? Interview, observation. They are methods, technique. But instruments, they are asking for what is expected answer is instrument. So what are the instruments here? Instruments are observation schedules and interview schedules. You understand? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So likewise, right? Sometimes
yes, sir.
Questions could be asked in in a subtle way. We have to identify the question, right? Now, most of the times, what the students fail to do is identifying the question.
So excuse me.
Yes.
You are not audible enough, sir.
Oh, 1 minute. Didn't you hear me? Hear anything that I said?
I
Hello.
heard, but not that much. Now it's okay.
Okay. Now okay.
Yeah, sir. Now it's very clear. Yeah, now it's clear.
Okay. So what I
Earlier
wanted to
it was, yeah, bit.
it was kind of slurring, right? Now, what I wanted to tell you is, right now, sometimes certain questions are in certain ways, right? Sometimes you are not able to understand. I mean, you may be able to understand, but some students are not able to understand the questions. Now, I just gave you an example for this for College of Education psychology paper. Recently, a question had been asked, right? What are the techniques of studying human behavior? Right? So most of the students came out with the answers observation and interviews, right? But in the marking criteria, 0 marks. Right? Why? Because they were not techniques. Sorry, they were not instruments. The question was, what are the instruments? So they were only techniques or the methods. So what are the instruments? What are the instruments in this case? Observation schedule and interview schedule. Are these clear to you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So likewise, sometimes questions can be very subtle. So you should be able to understand. Okay. Now, as one of you pointed out, yeah, you can give a good criteria, right? So accordingly, the observation could be, and you can give a kind of a checklist, right? So you can give a checklist, common checklist, and you can distribute it among large number of people, observers, right? That means not one, but 5 or 4 or 6 likewise. Right now, sometimes these could be expensive and time consuming, yes, but employing these kinds of methods, you can reap the best results, right? So who is the man behind the who is the person behind functionalism? Who headed the functionalism? What's the name of the person, psychologist?
William
William
James.
James.
William James, right? So then people started believing functionalism, right? So functionalism, right, lasted for some time, and so earlier people flocked around the idea which was structuralism. Then they moved from that to functionalism. So functionalism was going on, right? But later on, right, instead of uh, instead of studying the functions of the mind, right, people, right, now people like Thorndike, Skinner, they believed, right, they came out with a different idea. What is it? Right? So their school of thought is called behaviorism. What is it called?
Behaviorism.
Behaviorism. So what do the behaviorists believed? Right? Now behaviorists, now earlier group of people were called structuralists. So second group of people were called, that school of thought was called functionalism, and people who believed in that were functionalists. Then the third category, right, is behaviorists. So what is the idea proposed by behaviorists? They said, right, you can study the psychology only by studying the behavior of people, right? So that behavior is a comprehensive term, right? In psychology, behavior is not only the behavior of the human beings, it includes the behavior of animals, living things and non-living things, and everything, right? So behavior in psychology covers all these things, right? Not only the behavior of human beings, right? So not only the behavior of what we call ordinary people, right? Behaviors of, right, now if you take people, not only the behavior of normal people, but also the behavior of abnormal people, behavior of hyperactive people, and all kinds of human varieties. Not only humans, but also the behavior of the animals. Right. Likewise, so behavior touches upon a huge area. Right. Okay. We will learn it later on. Right. So the behavior is, they believed you have to study the behavior of people. Right. Then another school of thought came into being, which is called psychoanalysis. Now, this psychoanalysis is a novel concept, and it is a kind of a revolutionary school of thought. What is this psychoanalyst? Right? Who is the creator of this? Who is the founder of this? Right? Can anybody suggest me who the proponent of this idea is?
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. Who is it? Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud said, right now these people, right now, all these behaviorists and also all these functionalists, they study, they talk about studying the consciousness, studying the consciousness. You know what's called consciousness? Consciousness means our conscious thoughts. Right? When are we conscious? Right? When are we conscious? Do we have behavior only when we are conscious?
No.
Why? Now, conscious means what? You are in your right sense. Or you are your right sense. That means, right? Your conscious means, right? Most of the behavior you are showing when you are conscious. That means you are deliberately doing this. Yes.
Yeah, you know what you are doing. That kind
Very
of
good.
mind is that.
Now, actually, yeah, right. So conscious mind means, right. All the things happening to you,
We
you are
know.
aware, right? You know,
Yeah,
means you
we
are
are
aware of.
aware of the things, the activities that we are doing.
Right. It is with the knowledge of your whatever the faculty in brain only, right? You are doing whatever the action. So that is why these people being taught, in order to study the behavior, you have to study the conscious behavior, right? But Sigmund Freud came out with a very wonderful concept, right? Now he said our mind, right, doesn't comprise only of conscious thing. He said what? There are three layers in our mind. What are they? Right? Conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. What are the three layers according to Sigmund Freud? Conscious, subconscious,
subconscious, and unconscious.
Okay. What is conscious? What is the conscious part? Conscious part is when we are awake and when we are in our right sense, right? Whatever the things we are right sensibly, right, using our brain, right, using our brain functions are the things that we are do consciously, right? So in order to study the behavior, right, what the psychologists, earlier psychologists, what they studied was this conscious behavior, right? But Sigmund Freud had a different idea. He said mind has three components. What are they? Conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. Okay. Now, can you tell me when you are subconscious? Does our mind work when we are conscious? Yes, our mind works. We all know very well. Okay. Does our mind work when we are subconscious? Yes or no?
Yes, when you are sleeping.
Very good answer, right? When you are sleeping, you are subconscious, right? That means you are not conscious, but you are not unconscious as well. Why? Right. All of a sudden, right, while you are sleeping, right, within few seconds, you can come back to your consciousness. Right. You wake up, and also, right, while you are sleeping, your mind is working. That is why you see dreams, right, and certain things come to your mind even while you are sleeping, and certain functions are happening in your brain. So we can't say that, right, our mind is only conscious, but our subconscious thing, or that subconsciousness also is there. So it is also part of the brain, right? Okay, now we all can agree consciousness is there. Yes, conscious part is there. Then subconscious also is there. But do you think unconscious is there? Right? Yes or no? Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me an example when you are unconscious?
Faint.
Angry without reason.
Very good. When you are fainted, you are unconscious. Does it mean that when you are unconscious, your mind doesn't work? It might not work the same way as it works when you are conscious and subconscious, but still it works. Still it works. Right. So Sigmund Freud says, right, describe this concept using three concepts: id, and superego. Have you heard of these things? Id, and superego. What is id? What is id, and what is superego? Yes. Hello. Now you all have you all have passed out from colleges, so you have some idea. Maybe you don't have a complete idea, but you can come out. You can always come out with your idea. So we are going to shape your thoughts, right? Yes. What is it? What is it? What is super? Hello. Hello. Any idea or not? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. Have you heard of these three concepts? Id, and superego?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
But you can't remember it exactly, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a
Okay.
problem.
Oh, okay. So, now he says our mind, right, has three layers, right? He says, okay, before coming to id, and superego, I will explain it in terms of conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, right? After that, we'll come to this part, id and ego. Now, Sigmund Freud said, human mind, right, has three layers, right? And it is, we have it's more like right now, human mind, he compares it to a kind of a water body, right? Now, suppose, like, body of water, like a lake or something you take, then our conscious mind is something like, he says, top layer of the water, surface, surface, right? Then our subconscious is like the middle layer, and our unconscious is like the right lower layer of the water, which has the highest volume of water. Now he says, right, our consciousness is something like 5%, right? Subconsciousness is something like 15%, and unconsciousness is like 80%. Now, is it like, if our mind is, now if you consider it as is 100, right? So the components are 5% surface level, 5% what?
Conscious.
Consciousness, right? Then a layer below it, right? About 15% is subconscious, and 80% is unconscious, right? Now, okay. Now, according to him, right, consciousness are things that we do right now, things we perform on purpose, right? So most of our actions, right, that we perform, right, with our knowledge are conscious behavior. Unconscious behavior, basically when you are sleeping and all that, the things that are happening. Right? Subconscious. Unconscious means the behaviors which are in us, but right, which has been which have these behaviors or these experiences have been in our mind, not only in our lifetime, but throughout the throughout our throughout our generations. Some of the experiences and the things that our ancestors got also are there in our subconscious. Sorry, in our unconscious. Right? In your conscious, you have only the basically you have the experiences that you have undergone. Conscious and subconscious. But in unconscious, right? Not only your thoughts, not only the experiences you have, but also the experiences your father had, your forefathers had, and your distant forefathers had. For many generations back, some of the experiences they have gathered throughout their evolution are there in unconscious. Right. So he explains this using these three concepts called id, id, and super id. And he said, now what is the biggest part now, right? When you take the brain according to Sigmund Freud,
Unconscious.
unconscious. So these three he gives three different names again: id, id, and super id. He says id is our unconscious. It is our unconscious, right? It contains all our desires, all our all our animal desires are there, it seems, right? Right? All our feelings of lust, sex, maybe, and anger, revenge, and also violence. All those things are there in our unconscious, right? So they are basically all the right, and we call it is the animal side of us. All our animal feelings are there in unconscious, right? Okay. So then, what is the role of id and superego? Superego does the job of what? Discipline master, right? Although there are all those right good and all those bad and all those good bad right and various kind of thoughts in us, right, which are considered as they are kind of emotions, like they are what we call desires. All those desires are in us, but we just because we have those things, we are not going to practice them. We are not going to practice them. Now you get an animal desire, right? Now maybe you see something, right, and all that. All of a sudden, now let's take a very light example. Right? You see a very delicious meal, right, and you don't go grab and eat it. Why is that? Why is that? You see a very, you see a you see and you smell a very delicious and very delicious smelling food, right? But and it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to somebody else. So although you get great, you although you feel like eating it, you don't go and eat at once. Why is that? Why is that? Because you think, right, because you are controlled by super ego. So superego, what the superego does is it controls all the bad behaviors of it. Right? It is more like a discipline master. That is why I told. He says, no, you can't do it. Right? There are things called morals. There are things called customs. There are things called values. Right? So all our value system, right? All our good things, all our good thoughts, right? What it does is, right, uh, all those are there, they are in super ego. So super ego it is the controlling part. It doesn't allow our human nature to come out, right? Where every time we try to behave the way our mind wants, right? Super ego comes in and stops. It tells, no, no, you can't do it like this. When you do it, it is not right, right? People will laugh at you, right? People will think ill of you, right? People will criticize you. Don't do it. That is not proper. Likewise, always we are reminded by who? Super ego, right? So, because of super ego, sometimes we will not be able to do anything, whatever we want, right? Whether it is even right, even whether it is right or wrong, sometimes we might not be able to do it because it is always controlling us. So, what is the role of id? The role of the id is to assess, right? Right? These both areas, these are both extremes, right? Now, say for example, super ego is uh, wants to avoid all bad things. It is always only thinking about all the good things. So it wants a lot of bad things. But what the E does is it kind of balances between these two things. So there are certain things, right, which we want to do somehow or other, but right, we because right others would criticize us, we might not do it in public. So what the E does is it controls our behavior, but in the meantime it allows us to enjoy as well. So what strikes a balance between super controlling super ego and right uncontrollable id is controllable id is id. Do you understand? Hello, Lamai, do you understand, please?
Can you repeat it a little bit, sir?
Can
Elaborate
you,
more on
sir,
that.
can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. Now, right, I told you, right, it is full of all wild emotions, wild thoughts, animal desires, right? Right. Now, because of that, right, we can right now, if we allow our it, we would also behave like animals, right? We would not have any control, right? We get some sudden feeling, right? So we will try to quench it. We get hungry, right? We'll try to eat it, right? We get a sex urge or something, then we will perform it even in the presence of any number of people. Why? Because we have wild behaviors, right? Why? Because of it is the eat, right? But we don't behave like that. So why don't we behave like that? Because there is something which controls our behavior and tells us it is don't do it, it is bad, don't do this, this is banned, don't do this, this is not the proper way. Likewise, we are controlled by super ego. Now these are two extremes, right? Now say for example it wants everything, it is only right thinking about enjoyment, only it only wants to please uh, our senses. So it doesn't right mind any, it doesn't know any laws or it doesn't know any taboos, right? It is more like break free mentality, right? But uh, super ego, it will control everything. Then what is the job of the id? What the id does is it strikes a balance between good and bad and allows certain limitations for the people to enjoy, right? So it gives you some decency to your behavior, and right, it allows you to right uh, enjoy your emotions or your feelings, but it gives you some kind of accepted and socially acceptable way of doing it, right? Do you understand? Hello, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Is it still confusing?
Can you explain the id one again?
Time period was finished. So we are starting again. Right. Okay. Now I explain you the psychoanalysis of Sigmund Freud and told you how he described our human mind. So basically he described about 3 parts called id, id and superego. So it is all our uncontrollable emotions, all our wild desires. It superego is the thing that controls all this, everything, and id is the thing which think about what is acceptable, which behavior and which kind of emotions are acceptable, and then allow people to perform it. So id does a role between, what id does is it allows some of the id to come out and enjoy, but within certain limitations and within certain restrictions. Do you understand? Hello?
Sir,
Hello?
So,
this is Tarani.
Yeah, tell me.
So according to you, there are 3 layers of human mind. Id is the
Yeah.
one who doing that wild thing, as you said. I have just noted like that.
Yeah.
And the superego is the one who act like social ethics, according to the social ethics. And the ego is the one who controls these 2 parts. Am I correct?
Yeah, ego. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you are right to a certain extent. Ego, what the ego does is it kinds of strikes a balance between these 2.
Okay,
Right?
okay. Kind of a
Right?
gate part,
Yeah.
like middle part, right?
It's like because now we can, it's more like the discipline, right? Kind of not discipline master, right? I mean, it allows certain things to be done, right? Certain emotions, certain wild desires are allowed to be released, but right within certain limits, right? Because otherwise this because of this restriction, restrictions and social taboos and all that, all the social values and social
We cannot hear you properly.
acceptances, most
sir,
of
you are lagging.
this. But you can't go let loose. So it allows not all the wild. Do you understand now? It controls all our wild behaviors, and superego it not controls. It is full of all our wild behaviors and our wild desires, our emotions. So superego controls all these things. But what the E does is it allows certain behaviors to come out in acceptable manner. So it strikes a balance between the superego's over conservative approach and its super free approach. Do you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So according to now, this is only right. This is only Sigmund Freud's idea, right? Now Sigmund Freud described all these things related to sex, right? So what Sigmund Freud said, all the things in order to satisfy their sexual desires. But here, right? Don't mistake me, right? Now, Sigmund Freud doesn't really refer to what he means by sex is pleasure only, right? Not really the sex what we mean. All kind of pleasure seeking is considered as sex by Sigmund Freud, right? So because now he says most of the things we do, right? Most of the human activities are sexually motivated. Now, I don't know whether it is true or false, but to a certain extent, we can kind of believe it, right? Now, say, for example, right? Why do people want to dress up nicely, right? Why do people want to do fashions, right? Why do people want to do various kinds of, right? People want to wear whitening creams. I mean, people want to get injections. People want to go to the gym and shape their body, right? Most these things are meant for attracting the opposite sex, right? Right? Whether we accept or not, right? There is some whether consciously or unconsciously, that motive is there. That is why he said that now for this he gives a nice. These are kind of debatable things, right? Have you heard of a concept called Oedipus complex and Electra complex? Hello. Hello.
Yes, a bit.
What is this Oedipus complex and what is Electra complex?
So that means that when the children become to their puberty, the girls are attracting me to the father, and the boys are attracting to the mother, kind of.
Is it only after puberty?
No, actually, the most of the times the male-female attractions are happening starting from that moment.
Right. Actually, right now, to date, right? I like my mother more than father. It doesn't mean that I don't like my father, but I like more mother, right? Now, if I ask you, right, the daughters, right, whom do you like most, right? Whom do you like? Frankly, tell me, father or mother? Girls, hello, hello. Whom do you like?
Mostly father.
Mostly father. So right, fathers also, right? Now that is why Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. So there is a epic poem called Trilogy. Trilogy means there are 3 stories. So one is Oedipus, one is Electra, one is Antigone. So King Oedipus, right? If you read it, you can see right now. It is a story involving son marries his own mother, but he didn't do it on purpose, right? There's a nice story, right? So after that, later on, very later, very much later only, he gets to know that he had married his own mother. Electra also is something. Actually, it is also born around Oedipus, King Oedipus. The story is King Oedipus. King Oedipus was born in one of the in Thebes. Thebes is one of the port cities in Italy, right? Those days, right? So when he was born, right? When he was born, soothsayers said, right, one day, right, he would kill his father and marry his mother. So after hearing this, both parents did not want to let him survive. So what they did was they allowed some of their royal servant to get rid of him. But he was very nice looking and what we call very charming and beautiful, handsome prince, little baby. So the person who was assigned to execute him did not feel like carrying out the task. So what he did was he took him to a faraway place and left him on the road and went away because he didn't have the mind to kill him. So then in the meantime, a couple came, right? This couple did not have children, so they saw the child and they thought that it was a God-given prize, a God-given present, and so they looked after him. So he became a handsome boy later on, and he became a very loving son, and he loved both his parents, and he was living a very nice, I mean, he was growing up to be a very handsome and very faithful son. But one day, right, a soothsayer told him one day that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So he could not tolerate it because he was such a loving son. So he did not want to uh, stay with his parents. He thought if he stayed with them, he would do what the soothsayer did. So that he decided to leave their parents, and he goes away. Right. While he was going away, he was going in a chariot. Then he met another chariot coming on his way. Then he had a clash with the other charioteer, right? And he killed the people inside because he clashed with them. Right. And after that, he went there, but he did not know that it was his real father whom he had killed. And he was leaving the country because there was unrest in the country. Then by the time he went into that country, what happened? The people did not have a king. So the people made him the king because he was good looking and all that, right? And he was more like a prince. So he was given the kingship. And so when he became the king, he had to marry the queen. The queen was his mother, but he didn't know it. And she was young and all that. So she lived with her for a long time, and she had many children, 3 children. Electra, right? Electra was one of their daughters. But later on, only he came to know that he had married his own mother. So what he did was he took mother's what we call sari pin and right uh, damage both his eyes, right? Saying that I am such a sinful man and I shouldn't see the world with my eyes with the sins I have done. Actually, he did not do anything on purpose, but that was the fate. So likewise, there is a nice story, right? Anyway, because of that only this concept called Oedipus complex, the name for this complex has been given. Okay, now I was dealing too much with Sigmund Freud. Right. Now, we have discussed a number of schools. Then there's another school called Gestalt school. Gestalt. What is it?
Gestalt.
Hello.
Gestalt.
Gestalt means total picture. Gestalt means total picture, total experience. Now, Gestalists are certain German psychologists, but according to Gestalism, it is said, right, you can't, if you want to experience something, right, you have to experience it fully, right? Now, say for example, now if you want to study something, if you study parts of it, now suppose there is a big right now there is something like a film, right? So in order to study it, right, you get all those film clips one by one and sounds differently and the other things differently. Likewise, you put them together, you get some idea, but you don't get the whole complete idea as you are watching the whole scene. Right now, say for a example, right now we hear about, right now recently, now there's a famous discussion about Thurston College trip pilgrimage, or not pilgrimage really, educational excursion, right? There are different stories how it happens and all that, right? Bits and pieces are there, right? So when you see this, when you hear the when you listen to all these things, you get some idea, but not the total idea. Only a person who had been inside the bus would have got the total experience. So in order to experience something, uh, studying bits of it won't do, but you have to study it fully. So the idea behind Gestalism is that. So I'll give you a note on this, right, on in all these things, so you can study it later on. So now, by now, we have touched upon how many schools? How many schools of thoughts? Four. What are they? Uh, what are they, please? First one,
Structuralism.
structuralism. Then second one, functionalism. Third one,
Functionalism,
behaviorism.
behaviorism,
Fourth one,
psychoanalysis,
psychoanalysis. Fifth one,
then the Gestalt school.
gestaltism. Gestaltism.
Gestalt.
Right. So we have discussed 5 of the main uh, and most popular schools of thought, and there are some more. I will share some notes with you, so you can read. You can read them for your additional knowledge. Okay. So now what we have done is we have discussed some of the basic schools of thoughts of psychology, general psychology, not education psychology. Now we are going to move from general psychology to, or what we call pure psychology, to applied psychology. So what is all right, now these findings in the general psychology, right, are applied in various fields. So application of these findings of general psychology is known as applied psychology. What is it known as? Applied psychology. So what can you name some of the applied psychologies? Education psychology is one such applied psychology. In addition to that, what are the other areas? Right? Education psychology, criminal psychology, legal psychology, clinical psychology, right? Industrial psychology. Likewise, applied psychology can be divided into many parts. Right? Now, when you go through the two presentations I have sent you, you can see all these. Right. Okay. Right. Now we come to education psychology. What is educational psychology? What is educational psychology? Hello. What is educational psychology? Educational psychology is the findings of general psychology in the field of education is known as education psychology. What is educational psychology? Application of general psychology in the field of education. Again, can you define it? What is educational psychology?
Application of general
psychology in the field of
education.
Education, right. Okay. So there are people who have been very instrumental in developing educational psychology. Now we are going to discuss all these things, right? Right. Shall we come to? Shall we go through the? Shall we go through the presentation I have shared with you? Right. Now I'm going to screen share. I mean, do you have it with you? Hello.
yes, sir. We have.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Huh? Yes or no?
Yes, we have, sir.
Yes, we have, sir.
Okay. Now let's go to it. 1 minute. Give me a second. Okay, right. First thing is, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Hello. Right. Now, first slide deals with meaning and historical background of psychology. Right. So it says the word psychology is derived from Greek word psycho and logos. Psycho means soul, and logos mean science, the science of soul. First stage, psychology was defined as the study of the soul. I have described this. Then at the second stage, it was defined as the study of the mind. Because why was it replaced from soul to mind? Because soul was considered to be abstract, but mind also became equally abstract later on. Third stage, again, it was defined by William James as the study of consciousness. So William James, the father of functionalism, is the person who defined it as the study of consciousness, not the mind. Then fourth stage, study of total behavior. This is the behaviorist theory. It is scientific because it is systematic study of unlearned where it include reflexes, psychological process, and instincts, and it is learned behavior also because all behavior acquired through practice. Likewise, now we call psychology scientific because because it is systematic study of observable behavior. Today, psychology is scientific method of collecting data about individual and groups to analyze and predict their behavior. So some of the now these things I right, you can read and understand. I have explained. Okay, some of the definitions, right? Now you have to remember one or two definitions when you explain these things, right? Let's go by Woodward and Marquis definition. What does it he say? What do they say? Psychology is the scientific study of the activities of the individual in relation to his environment. What is the first definition I have given here? What is the definition by Woodworth and Marquis? Yes. What is psychology? Hello. Hello. Now, please tell me, do you have this slideshow with you or not? Hello.
Yes, sir, we have. He says psychology is the scientific study of the activities of the individual in relation to his environment.
So according to them, psychology is the scientific study of the activities of individuals in relation to his environment. Right. So what does L.M. Moon says? Psychology today concerns itself with the scientific investigation of behavior. Right. So psychology we can divide into two parts as pure psychology and applied psychology. Right. So what are the branches of psychology? Pure psychology and applied psychology. What are the applied psychologies? Educational psychology, clinical psychology, industrial psychology, forensic psychology, health psychology, personality psychology, legal psychology. Likewise, there are many branches. Right. So what are the pure psychology branches? General psychology, abnormal psychology, developmental psychology, experimental psychology, and social psychology. Now, psychology can be divided into two main areas. What and what? Yes, tell me please.
Pure psychology and applied psychology.
So what are the branches of pure psychology? What are the branches of pure psychology? Yes. General psychology. What is general psychology really? General psychology deals with the behavior of normal people, right? Average people like you and me, right? So what is abnormal psychology? So these are right. These are pure psychology branches. What are they? General psychology, abnormal psychology, developmental psychology, experimental psychology, and social psychology. Okay. What are the branches of pure psychology? Yes. Yes. Tell me, please.
General psychology, abnormal psychology, development psychology, experiment psychology, and social psychology.
Okay, what is general psychology deals with behavior of normal. Then what is abnormal psychology deals? It deals with the behavior of abnormal people like whom? Slow learners, right? And mainly retarded people, right? And hyperactive people and people like that, or people with various disorders and all. Developmental psychology, experimental psychology, social psychology. These also are branches of psychology which are concerned about the development. Psychology is about the development of. Then psychology about certain experiment, right? And social psychology about certain social function, how I saw certain people behaving. It is about social structures. It is as to why certain social groups behave in certain ways and all that, right? So more important areas are applied branches. In applied branches, educational psychology deals with the education. Then industrial psychology deals with how the findings of psychology can be employed in industries in order to increase production and profit. Forensic psychology is how it is studied, how the findings of psychology is studied in forensic matters, especially. And what is health psychology? How the findings of psychology are held in the field of health. Personality of psychology means findings of psychology, how they are used in development of individuals and personal development. Right. The most important area for us is education psychology. Education psychology. Education psychology is concerned with the study of human learning. What is education psychology concerned with?
Human learning.
Human learning. Right. 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 Some of the 1 minute. Education. Right. Let's see what is given to you about education psychology. Education psychology is nothing but one of the branches of applied psychology. We know it. It is an attempt to apply the knowledge of psychology to the field of education. That also we know. In other words, educational psychology is the study of the experience and behavior of the learner in relation to educational environment. So what are the definitions? Crow and Crow says what? Educational psychology describes and explains the learning experience of an individual from birth to old age. That is Crow and Crow. Then Peel, what does he say? Educational psychology is the science of education. It is the branch of psychology which deals with teaching and learning. Who says like that? Skinner. Okay, right. So there I have given you about 3-4 definitions. You have to remember at least 2 or 3. Right. Now we come to the most important part. Educational psychology with regard to teaching and learning. So why is education psychology important for us as teachers? So this is very important. So we are going to study why education psychology is important for us as teachers. Why? What is the first purpose? To know the learner. Before we teach, we have to identify whom we are teaching. So we have to understand our customer, right? Who is our customer, right? We are in the business of education, right? So who are our customers? Yes, tell me, please. Hello.
Students.
Hello. Students. So before we teach, we have to know who we are teaching. So we have to understand what? What do we need to understand about our child, our student, right? Tell me, please. We have to understand, right? What kind of psychological background he is from, what kind of social background he is from, what kind of psychological background he is from, what kind of psychological state he is in, and what kind of behavioral problems he has, what kind of deficiencies he has, what kind of traumas, and what kind of stressors he has, and all these things. So if we are able to have a fair understanding about these things, only we will be able to teach. Unless we know these things, it is very difficult for us to teach.
Right. So the first thing is we need to know the learner. Then after having understood the learner, right now we know the learner means we understand what his mental capacities, what his capabilities are, what his interests are, what his limitations are, and all that. So once we know these things only, we will be able to select the suitable learning experience for them. So we'll be able to select and organize the subject matter of learning experiences only if we understand who our student is and what his standard is. Right? Clear? What are the other what are the other needs? We need to suggest art and techniques of teaching as well as learning. Right? So in order to teach, we have to decide as to what technique should be used for teaching, and also what technique should be taught to students for learning. So in order to decide these things also, our knowledge of education psychology help us to arrange, what are the other uses? To arrange learning situations or environments according to the student standard. Likewise, right, there are some more uses. To acquaint him with the mechanism of heredity and environment. What is that? To acquaint him with the mechanism of heredity and environment. Do you understand what is meant by this? Hello. What is called heredity and what is environment? Yes? Hello. Putala, are you listening to me or not?
Yes, we are.
To acquaint means to make us familiar with the mechanisms of heredity and environment. Heredity is what? Heredity are our what? The factors that come to us from our genes are hereditary factors. What are environment? What is environment? Things that we are getting from our surrounding are environmental factors. So we have to make our students familiar with the mechanisms of heredity and environment. And also we have to help students to maintain their discipline. So psychology helps in this also. Right. And also we have to render guidance services. We have to do a lot of guiding to our children, or else most of our children are not mentally balanced. Right now we can see the products of our education. Right, even for the slightest reason, they would resort to violence. Now you can see some of the experiences. Right now, third year university student right 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 kills his lover, right, just because he refuses love. So this is the kind of mentality that our children are in, right? So they are not ready to accept defeat, right? So these are the people who have not been involved in sports or anything, right? Now, at psychology, or if they were involved in sports or something, right, they would not resort to this kind of behavior. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So likewise, right, we have to really rethink about the way we address our students and we teach them. So education psychology is more important than ever. Okay. So okay. Requirements. Helping in evaluation and assessment. Education psychology helps us in evaluation and assessment of our students. It also helps us to solve classroom problems.
And also education psychology helps students to know about themselves, and for the teacher also to know about himself or herself also. Education psychology helps. Education psychology also helps teachers to for more teachers to motivate their children. It also gives knowledge about group study and group behavior. Finally, educational psychology contributes to all-round development of personality. Right. So right now, up to now we have discussed. Right. So I want you to do a small thing right now. This is right. Uh, we are going to continue this lesson tomorrow also. Right. So can you go through these two notes? I mean, I have given you two slideshows. Both slideshows I want you to go through. So I will finish discussing them in the next 2 hours tomorrow. Right. So before you come to the lecture tomorrow, I want you to read these things several times and make some necessary, right? I mean, make short notes very effective. Can you do it, please? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So what you got to do is you read these both slideshows several times and make a very neat short note of this. Right. So what I will do is I will stop from where I stopped today and I'll finish discussing this slideshow and discuss the other slideshow as well. So these two will will cover right basic areas about right definitions of psychology, or what is psychology, definitions of psychology, and definitions of educational psychology, and uses of educational psychology, right, and functions of educational psychology, and and also whether psychology is a science or a art, right? Uh, kind of, and also what contributes to the psychology. I mean, whether it is nature or nurture. So all these arguments we will complete next day. So I think in order for me to lead the discussion, you also need to be aware of certain some of these ideas. So it would be better for you to read these two slideshows and also the first 4 or 5 pages of your note, right? So if you have time to do this and come prepared like this, so we will be able to have a very fruitful discussion. Okay. So and also I will share a note on uh, schools of thought that I discuss. I will share a note. I will send it to Arshad sir tomorrow, so he will share it with you. And also I will share a note on evolution. So I mean, kind of now, and, especially schools of thought and uh, and and also that this school of thought notes includes all the proponents of all the 5 schools we have discussed. In the meantime, I'll send you a detailed note about psychoanalysis, right? About id, ego with examples, and also conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, and all these things. So sorry for the uh, initial issue we had. Did you all understand what I explained today? Did you all could hear it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if you have any issues, you can tell me. What are the problems you had? Uh, uh, did I conduct it too fast, or did you have any issues with my language or anything? Any problem you can suggest. So next time I can correct my problems. I'll give you 5 minutes. Right? Can you tell me what you need me to do, or what are the problematic areas? Feel free to speak, no problem, right? Feel free to speak, right?
We cannot hear you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, my dear. What?
Cannot hear you, sir.
Again, we have the hearing problem. 1 minute, please.
Bit like flicking. It's
1 minute. Now, right now, what I wanted to tell you is right now. Sorry for the inconveniences we face in the first half an hour like this. Now I was able to sort it out, and by tomorrow I'll try to sort it out better, so there won't be any issues. Right now, did you understand what I explained to you up to now?
yes.
Yes.
So anything that you could not understand, feel free to tell me, right? Because right, I like to get your feedback, right? So I can do a better job next time around. So what are your issues, right? Do you need me to explain some more or what? Give you ideas. Any gray areas from the things I discussed today? Hello. Hello.
No, it's all clear for me, sir. In my side, I feel it's all cleared.
It's all clear. Is it all clear? Hello. Hello. And I don't hear you. I heard one person saying it's clear. What about the others?
Yes, sir, it was clear.
Right. So tomorrow, right? Please read the note, first few pages, 5 pages of the note, and the slide, and watch the slide shows about 2-3 times, and make a small short note and come. So I want you to come prepared for a discussion tomorrow. Okay, right? So I want not now today, of course, a few people join me. I want everybody to join me. I need everyone to be knowledgeable and everybody to contribute. Then only we will be doing a very successful teaching learning process. Otherwise, right now, today also, I feel I spoke too much. I mean, it shouldn't be the case, right? It should be more like 50-50, right? I have to speak 50% and you also have to speak 50%. And certain things. You have to sometimes you have to propose certain things. Sometimes you have to contradict my views. Right. Hello. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yes, sir.
When I am teaching you right now, when you are teaching your children, it is the teaching of your children is known as what? And what? Pedagogy. What is it called? Pedagogy. So the things that we are doing right in teaching are called pedagogical practices. Right. Now, when I am teaching you, what is it? Is it pedagogy or something else? What is the term used for that? Since I am teaching adults, right, this is known as andragogy. What is this called?
Andragogy.
So andragogical practices and teaching methods are different from pedagogical practices, right? So, and now according to the characteristics of andragogy, right, adults don't like to keep on listening to some other person for a long time, right? So what they want to do is they want to discuss matters. They want to prove their points. They want to show that they also know, right? So that is what you enjoy, right? So that please come prepared so that we can argue, we can discuss, and we can have a very fruitful discussion. Okay. Okay. Shall we meet tomorrow a little earlier around 6:30? Is it all right tomorrow 6:30, right? Hello. 6:30. Come on at the.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
just for tomorrow, let's meet little early around 6:30, and go on till 8:30. Okay. And thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any doubts or any issues, please talk to me. Even you can reach me even on my WhatsApp or even my phone number. Right. If you have any issues, you can discuss with Apax and he will inform me. So hope that I will find this. I hope you better next time. Shall we stop for today? Hello? Shall we stop today? Hello? So good night to all of you.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
You all are welcome.